So hello guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, I have explained you. Uh, I haven't explained anything. Just I have created a simple and easy HTML page using CSS a bit. Okay, so it's a very basic thing, isn't it? I just created different divisions. Each division is of self studies of one division, is of another division, and of another division, is of another division. Okay, so I have created and I have changed the background colors itself. Okay, for every division I have changed to different background colors. So until before the last lecture, I have used external CSS, but in this I have used internal CSS because it would be very easy for you guys to understand in this lecture. Okay, so most of you may have some doubts like what is this div, isn't it? So this div is nothing but a division. Okay, so what does a division mean? In simple ways, you can take it as a paragraph or a photo or image. Okay, a paragraph or image or heading, whatever. Okay, each thing comes under a single div. Instead of this div, inside this div, you can give anything. Okay, inside this div, you can give a paragraph, a image, or whatever. Okay, like if we go to apple.html, we can place a lot of things in under one div. Okay, for example, we have this um, lists, right? Ordered list and unordered list. You can do one thing, you can keep unordered list under a single division. Okay, as well as you can give a ordered list under a single division. Okay, like how? If you want to know, just give div. Okay, and keep this div after this. So this is a div. Okay, you can write anything in between this div. You can also write a div for this, you can also write a div for this. Okay, so this is basically the division. You can divide. Okay, you can divide a lot of things like this. Okay, so this is basically the division part. Okay, so I have just explained it for your understanding. Okay, so each thing is a division. So I have created totally 8 divisions here, and I have given the class names. Okay, this is a class name, this is a class name. So I have divided 2 class names with a space because we are going to use 2 class names here. Okay, so going on into the lecture, you will be able to know why I have given these 2 class names. Okay, instead of a single class name. And also, guys, one more request: this video is going to be a very long video because in this I'm going to explain the whole flexbox concept. So the only thing is you need to understand, take a notes, and whenever you get confused, pause the video. And whenever you get tired or you get it, no, like I'm exhausted, so stop it there and resume it once you are okay. Okay, so my request is please follow this video through end so that you could understand this flexbox concept very easily. And also, before this lecture or before the start to the introduction of flexbox lectures, you may see that you may have a confusion floats. It is not an issue because we are not using floats anymore now. Okay, so concentrate more on flexbox as well as CSS grid. These two topics are quite important and I'm going to explain you clearly. Okay, both flexbox and CSS grid. I'm going to explain both of these concepts very clearly, and you will be able to understand it very clearly if you listen carefully. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. So now, if you see this, the whole division, this is a single division. In this division, we have multiple divisions. So all of these divisions comes under the container because we have written all these divisions inside a single division. So in order to represent that, I will, you know uh, change the background color for the container. Okay, so let me change the background color for the container. Background color, maybe something around burley wood. This is something burley wood. So let me go there and let me change this to this color. Okay, it's fine. So let me save this, let me reload this. You may not find you know any changes here, isn't it? Because uh, the whole divisions is getting covered with a single division. All right, so now um, this whole thing is a single division. So now we are going to start with our topic, flexbox, right? This is, yeah, this is going to be okay. So before starting the flexbox, let me tell you, we have some of the syntaxes for us. So you need to remember all those syntaxes. Okay, so how is it going to be? How are the things going to be now? So it would be like, first of all, you need to write a display flex. Whenever you write this syntax, so it's display, yes. Okay, so whenever you are going to write this syntax, the thing is, the display, um, the css gets understand that we are using the flex. We are using flex to which classes, to the class container, the class container containing all the 8 classes in it. Okay, so that is why we have um, you know uh, enclosed the whole divisions inside a single division. Okay, so whatever the change you do to the single division, the same change will be reflected to all the divisions. Okay, so here we are saying to, we are telling to css that the display should be flex. So indirectly it gets understand now. Okay, the he is using the flex box. So whenever you reload this, see what happens. If you see it more carefully, okay, so here everything comes one after another, isn't it? So it's very easy uh, to float the slides now. Okay, before starting this lecture, you have used only floats. In that, the floating like this is very very difficult, isn't it? So it's very difficult, but now floating is very simpler, because you know what, using flex, we can do these things more betterly. So where is this flex used? So for that clarity, once come back, and if you go to the apple website once again, I'm going to explain this. So if you go to the apple website, you can see that, not this one, this one, yeah, here, this one. Okay, here you can see HomePod Mini and AirPods are side by side, isn't it? HomePod Mini and AirPods are side by side. So here they have used flex. They can use flex to do so. So this is a single division, okay, and this is a single division, and these two divisions are covered under a single division. So that division is given by flex, so that these two are coming side by side. Okay, so for you to understand, let um, so for the time being, let me fine. So for the time being, let there be only two divisions. Okay, so this is for your better understanding. So for this division, let the class be something, class, you can say that, maybe maybe some class, let it be el1 once more. Okay, so this would be element 1, and let the name be, what's the name here? HomePod Mini. Okay, here you can write home pod mini, suppose. Okay, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Here, I'm sorry. The thing is AirPods again. Okay. So before this, I'm going to insert an image. Okay. So you know, right, how to insert an image. So let me clear you guys now. Let it be EL2 now. Okay. So now, before this, there should be image and there should be a break statement here, isn't it? So I'm going to insert the same image. Okay. Suppose we have tree.jpg. So tag would be img. Okay. src equals tree.jpg. Okay. For both, I'm going to keep the same. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it in the above. Okay. So I'm sorry. So here I'm going to place the break statement. So let me cut it. Below this, I'm going to place the break statement. So let me save this. Let me reload this. I'm sorry. I'm going back to flexbox. Here you can see both of these are side by side. You can see, right? So one side is HomePod Mini and the other side is AirPods. Okay. So here they have used this flexbox. So it's more accurate. Okay. There is some space in between these two. You know, they have divided this very beautifully, and we are going to see that also. Okay. So we'll learn how we give spaces in between here and all the things we are going to learn. Okay. This is the whole point about flexbox and also the divisions. If you understand the divisions properly now, right, you can understand the divisions properly here. So these are the basic understandings before you start learning the flexbox. So these are basically the divisions. Okay. So let me delete this division. Okay, fine. Yeah. And let me delete these things also. Okay. Now let me save this. So yeah, let me save this. Let me reload this and everything comes to normal right now. So let me, so this is the whole point now. So the next thing would be, I'm going to explain some of the basic properties. Okay. So there will be some properties for that, right? Not the properties, but yeah, you will get to know now. So this is the, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I have made a mistake. So this is not a flex now. So EL1, yeah, here I have deleted this. Just give me a sec. Control Z. Yeah, I should not delete whole of these. Okay, I should delete up to here, here, here. Let me reload this. Yeah, this, we are back into the normal. Okay, so for now you have understood what is the use of flex box and display flex. Okay, this is important. In order to use the flex box, you need to use display flex, and what the containers are really, I mean divisions are really. Okay, what are these divisions? For now you came to understand. And also one more thing, it will, I mean the container size will increase according to the screen size. Okay, so if you are using mobile, then it may look like this, you know, like this. If you are using tablet, it may look like this. If you are using some web applications, it is like this. So this container class is responsive. Okay, it screen to size ratio, it will increase or decrease. But these division classes, the classes inside this container class is not responsive. If you go to very less screen size, you need to scroll this page. They will not come down because you have used display flex inside the container. So inside the container, all these things are not responsive. Okay, because these should be side by side. We can also do them responsive, but I'm going to explain you in the later on time. Okay, so these are not responsive, but the background is responsive. Fine. So came to know um, the container is responsive, but the elements inside the container is not responsive. Inside them is not responsive. We can do these also responsive. We are going to do okay, but before that there are some of the things which you need to know. Okay, so if you go to el2 or any el, okay, I mean any element, you just add a height. Okay, so the height would be somewhere around 150 pixels. Okay, suppose. So let me save this, let me reload this. Now you can see you have only increased the size for ease, isn't it? You have only increased the size of ease, but the rest of the elements is also getting increased automatically. So the first thing to keep in mind, if you increase a single height, okay, so these are the points to be noted. If you increase the single size of the element inside a division, so the whole elements will be increased, all the elements will be increased by default. You can do it okay, you can do it like only to increase one element, but the thing is uh, first this is the basic thing. By default this will be done. Okay, by default, if you increase a size, if you increase the height of the single element, all the other elements height will also increase automatically. Okay, and these are still, the background is responsive, but uh, the whole, these things will not be responsive yet. Okay, so this is the first thing to be noted. So the next thing you need to keep in mind, below the display flex, I'm going to align elements or align items. It's not elements, it's items. Align elements to center. Okay, for suppose. So I'm going to save this. So what is this keyword going to do? Align items. So it will align the items to the center. So now see. So let me increase this first. Okay. So let me reload this. Now you can see that only is up fully. I mean, what I mean to say, everything comes to the center. Okay. And now everything is coming to center, but is the whole element 2 is of height 150 pixels. We have described here. So the is 150 pixels. So this is of 150 pixels, and everything comes to the center. Okay, and another thing to keep in mind, this class container. Okay, this class container height will be increased or decreased with respect to the height of the each single element. Since the highest height of the element here is 150 pixels, the container height is also 150 pixels. The width will change according to the screen, okay, screen ratios. Okay, according to the screen ratios, the width will be increased, but the height depends on the individual elements. Okay, so whenever you align the items to center, every single item comes to the center. Okay, so since the mat height is 150 pixels, this is not going to the, I mean not coming to the center. Okay, so this is the use of align items to center. Okay, so you will also have align items to the flex start and flex end. Okay, so if you give the flex start here, okay, I'm going to save this and I'm going to reload this. You know, everything comes to the top. So this is not the default behavior, because you know what happens by default, everything comes to the same size, isn't it? Everything comes to the same size. But when you write flex start, everything goes up. In the same way, you have flex bottom also. Okay, flex not bottom, flex end. Okay, just save this, reload this page. You will now see for the flex bottom, everything is coming to the end. Okay, so for the flex start, everything goes up, flex bottom, everything goes down, and the center comes to the center here. Okay, it's very simple. Now, after align items, we have another keyword. So, or you have this align items to stretch. So this is the default. Stretch means default. Okay, if you write the stretch, everything will be default. So you may have a multiple choice questions like which of the following align items is by default. You may have different options like top, bottom, center. You have seen now, right? And stretch. So the answer would be stretch. So this is one of the important point which you need to keep in mind. Okay, and the next thing would be, the next keyword would be, so let me keep it to the stretch for the time being, and I'm going to justify content. Okay, so there is this keyword called justify content, and let it be center. Okay, justify content to center. So what this will do, if you reload this page, you know, these all the contents, all the division contents is getting to the center. Now if you stretch this, what's happening, the background, the container is getting increased, but the divisions are at the center, if you observe, isn't it? So this is how you need to have this to the center. You can see, even if I stretch this, it's to the center. Okay, so if I decrease this, it is to the center. You have to scroll right and left. Okay, so this is how you get the content to the center. So here you can also see, if you increase the size, the content will be to the center. And there is another thing. Okay, not only center, you can write space between. Space, if you write this, yeah, there is this thing, space between. Okay, if you give the space between, so what happens, if you, it will be responsive now, if you increase this, there will be the space in between these two. I'll reload this. Okay, and I'll increase this size. You can see that both of these is going to the ends, and in between everything there is space. Okay, so if I increase this, the space in between them will be increased. Okay, if I decrease this, the space in between them will be decreased. So this is the basic use of space between. So this thing also need to be keep in mind. Okay, so this is also a keyword, space between. So it will be responsive. Okay, if I increase this, the space between two elements will be increased. If I decrease, the space between two elements will be decreased. Okay, okay, so the next thing would be um, space between is done. So for the justify, if you give flex start, okay, suppose flex start, so what happens, I'll just reload this. If I increase this, So everything is coming to the start. Okay, the right part, if you increase the size, everything is getting to the left words. Okay, flex to the starting words, flex start. Okay, so this is one of the property again. So even if you increase the bag, I mean the container on the right hand side will be increased, these will not get increased or decreased. Okay, so this is also the default thing, right? And the next thing would be there is a flex end also. Okay, so that everything goes to the ending. Okay, so I'm not going to explain that, you know, because you are going to experiment that. Okay, so let me cut it here. If you know, if I get this to the single element, okay, el1 or el2 or anything, so what happens then, I'm going to paste it here to the el1, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to reload this, and you are going to see nothing is getting changed, isn't it? So even if you keep it in any of the single element, it will do the same thing, flex start will do the same thing, even if you keep it in inside the container, or if you keep it in the single element, it is going to do the same thing. Fine. So you can also use it with a single elements. This is the flex start for now. So I'm going to get back to the space between. Okay, sorry, for this. So I'm going to write space between, because we'll mostly use space between. Okay, in most of the programmings you are going to see space between, so that everything is getting to the, is having the spaces. Fine. So yeah, um, so the next is flex start. Flex start is by default. So you have also seen that. So for now let me remove this. Okay, no need to use that. And you have align self. Okay, there is another element called align self. So align self, you can write to a single element or a group of elements. Okay, so for the single element you can use self align self to the top or bottom or whatever, to the start, flex start. Okay, fine. Let me save this, let me reload this. What happened here? So this self study is going to the start. Fine, this self study is at the top with the use of this align self flex start. You can also use flex bottom for another element, so that the whole thing comes to the down part. Okay, so you can use it with any of the elements, single elements. Okay, so this is the basic use of flex start. So if you use align self here in the green, and instead of start you use stretch. Okay, what's this doing? So this is the fourth element, 1 2 3 4 for easy. So this is a basic thing, there is no change for this. So what is this doing? This will basically stretch. So this is the default thing here for the stretch. And the next thing would be, if I keep it to the flex end, we have already seen flex start here. So I'm going to keep this flex end. So here you can see the change. Okay, let me save this and let me reload this, and you can see I have used flex start so that it is at the start and I have used flex end so that it is at the end. So you can play around with the divisions in such a manner, okay, to the start to the end, and you can do a lot of things with the use of this, okay. So next thing would be center. You also have center. So let me do this. Instead of flex start and flex end, you can use center. Fine, let me save this. Let me reload this. You can see the 2 is going to center, okay. So you can make an element to go to starting point, you can make the element to go to ending, you can make the element to go to the middle thing, I mean to the center, okay. Yeah. So what else can we so these, until now it's clear, right? We have seen like 4 to 5 different elements, and I hope everything is clear till now. So now the important part, you have created this division, okay. But but if you want to change the order of the single division, self study is a division, ease is a division, an is a division, easy is a division, online is a division, right? If you want to make some changes in the order, okay, so you can make that changes also. You may think like, why to make changes, in CSS we can cut and paste the things over here, so that if you keep this thing down here, so what happens, instead of is and, now it will be an is, isn't it? You can think like that. So we can change very simply. So why to do different things instead of doing these simple ways, you may think so. But the point here is, it's very simple HTML page here. But if you go to the real life scenarios, you will be updating the page, okay. You will be updating a page with thousands of HTML lines, okay. At that point, it will be very difficult for you to cut at a place and copy in another place, and cut at that place, copy in another place. Instead, you should have a very easy way to transport these things, okay. For now, since this is the very less code, it's very easy for you to transform from platform to self study to platform by copy pasting the things here, cutting and pasting the things here, okay. But in real life scenario, it will not be the case. You should you know change the orders by changing the code in the CSS itself, okay. So for now, if I want this an element 3 to be at first, to be at starting, so what should I do? I should go to element 3, and I should make the order -1, order -1, so the negative values comes to the front, okay. If I reload this, what's happening, an is coming to front. So if you want any division to coming, if you want any divisions to be in the start, okay, not front, it's called start, it's called end, okay. If you want any at start, you need to give the order as -1, okay, so that the element will be at the start. If you give +1, that element will be at the end. If you want this element 6, the order should be 1. Simple. I'll save this, and you can see now 2 is at the end. So if you give a +1, that element will be at end. If you give -1, that element will be at the start. It's very simple. But you may ask me, so you told me how to get an element to the front, how to get an element to the back. But if I want some order, like if I want some element to be the second from the last, third from the last, how can we do that? You may ask so. The thing here is, if the highest positive number will be at the end, and the least I mean highest negative number like -2, -3, -4. These are negative numbers, right? Negative numbers. So the smaller numbers will be the front and the larger numbers will be at the end, depending on the plus sign and minus sign. So for your confusion, I want to give element 4 the order to be 2. So what happens now? So this element 4 is at the ending, okay, at the rightmost this element 4. Before this element 4 you will find element 6, okay. So the 2 will be second larger. Now you can see after 2 you will have another element, you can see now, yeah, easy. So what's happening? So the highest positive number is at the right end and the least negative number is at the left end. Very simple. So this is how you will be able to change the orders, okay. So it may also, you know, a bit um, confusing for you, but I suggest you to practice the orders also, because the order is also an important thing in flexbox to learn. So I hope this is clear until now. So as I told you, this video is going to be very lengthy and you need to be patient, okay. Very simple as that. So the next thing, we have finished a 50%, okay, and we are going to finish another 50% now. So here each and every class is of same name here, el. Okay, we have two names but one name is common and one name is you know, a bit different from each other. So I'm going to make use of el now, okay. So here after container I'll use dot el. So you have learned how to make the equal spaces between each element, right? So now you are going to learn how to make the fixed spaces, okay. So until now, if you increase the pace, the space between two elements is getting increased. If you decrease the, you know, the screen size, the space is getting decreased. But now I want to make the same space, okay. Even if I increase the size or I decrease the size, the space should be constant in between each element. So how to do that? For that I can use margins. You know margin, right? Margin left, margin right, you already know. So here I'm going to use margin right and let it be 30 pixels. So let me save this and let me reload this. You can see now, even if you increase the size or you decrease the size, the space between two elements are constant. You can see the space between two elements are constant even if you increase or decrease the screen size. So this is how you need to keep a fixed size between two elements. So this is clear now. So the next thing, you also have the margin left, isn't it? So this is for each element, okay. So if you want to give the margin here in the container, so for this the whole el we have given margin right. But now what I'll do, I'll delete this, okay. I'll give the another keyword here. So for using inside the container, you have this keyword called gap, and this is of 40 pixels. You can also use this. So both of them are the same things you can use here. So if you give el class and if you give the right margin or if you give the gap in the container, both the things will do the same work, okay. There is no difference, okay. So most of the people will use gap, okay. We will not use right, okay. So we will use gap and we'll specify the size. So our job is done, right? So we have two you know, two keywords for the same work, okay. So as simple as that. And now if I use let me give let me do this. So now we have some properties. So I thought the the flex properties should be explained in totally a different lecture, but I'll go with the flow. Okay, so from now we are going to learn flex properties. Okay, flex properties. Fine. So there are three flex properties which you need to know. So the flex properties should be written with class EL. So this is the main importance of class EL, because we are going to learn flex properties by using this class EL. Dot EL. So what will happen? So there are some basic properties. Okay, I'm going to make some comments here. Flex grow. Okay, flex grow 0. Okay, so flex shrink, you have to by heart these things. Okay, flex shrink would be 1. Next, flex basis would be auto. Fine. So these are the basic things in flex properties. In flex properties, these are the flex grow is 0, flex shrink is 1, flex basis is auto. So what is this flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis? So you need to know, right? So these are the properties, flex properties by default. So what happens if you change these properties? So we are going to see in a few seconds. Okay, so for now, let the flex basis, okay, let me come from flex basis. Basis be some 100 pixels. Okay, now you can see flex basis, make it to 100 pixels. Let me save this, let me reload this, let me see what happens now. Yeah, what's happening? So here the flex basis is 100 pixels, which we have kept. So here I have kept the flex basis to be 100 pixels. Let me reload this and let me show you. You may not find any change, but there is a change. So what's the change? So here you can see that the flex basis 100 pixels means each element is of 100 pixels. Okay, so the and from the start to the end is 100 pixels. The is from the start to the end. So this element 3 is of 100 pixels. This element is of 100 pixels. This element is of 100 pixels. Even if you increase the screen size, it will not increase. You can see it will not increase. So every element will be of 100 pixels. So there are some of the properties which you need to learn. So this would be a more theoretical class now. See, flex basis 100 pixels means each and every element is going to be 100 pixels width. Fine. So this is of basically width. So an is to everything is 100 pixels. So since the default occupation of an is less than 100 pixels, whenever you get a room to increase, so this will be increased to the maximum of 100 pixels. This gel study is more than 100 pixels, is greater than 100 pixels width. So if you shrink or increase, it will not change its size because this is already more than 100 pixels. So if some element is less than 100 pixels, it will increase to the 100 pixel size. If the element is already more than or greater than 100 pixels, there will not be any change on the element. Okay, so here also there will not be any change on the element if you learn, I mean, if you increase or decrease the size of the screen, the 100 pixels will not cause any damage to it. If the screen is very small like this, then what happens? This 100 pixels will automatically shrink, okay, to its original size, so that the screen is clearly visible to us. Okay, so if it has space, it will be increased to 100 pixels. Simple. It will not increase more than 100 pixels. Okay, if the thing is more than 100 pixels, then it's fine. By default it will be more than 100 pixels. There will not be any change on that. So not only on the .el, you can apply this to the single class also. So if you want only this and to be having flex basis, you can very well cut it and paste it over element 3 here, so that everything will be, so that and will only get 100 pixel width. If you want to check, let me cut it here and let me paste it over and. What is and is element 3. So let's go here, let's paste it over here. Let me save this and let me reload this. If you see, and will only increase up to 100 pixels. 2 and ease is not getting increased, because we have only given it to a particular element. So you can also play with those things. Okay, so another interesting fact here, simply we can say fun fact. So what's that? So here, if you um, try to copy this after platform, the two will be copied, because you know uh, in this after platform we are having two. So if you copy this platform and if you increase copying this, then two will be copied. After that only learn will be copied. You can see here. Okay, so this is what you can, you will basically see this type of things. If you play with these things, you will find it by yourself only. Okay, so this is also one of the property, you can say, not property, but it's important to know sometimes. Okay, so yeah, this is also a thing to be noticed. Now you now came to know about flex basis. So the element flex basis is getting known to you until now, right? We have another two elements to be studied about. So if you also want to check here the flex basis, you can go to inspect the element. Here go to body. Inside the container we have self study. So this self study, this will be, go to ease. Let me show you, give me a sec. So height will be 150 pixels, we know. There will be some width here somewhere. Let me show you those things. If you decrease the height, so every height will be decreased, because we have given only the height to ease. You can play with these things. The display is block, fine. So you can find different things here. Font size, if you take out the font size, so everything comes to the normal. But the thing is, if you do this and if you reload the page, everything will be again back. Okay, so you can go to the properties and check all the stylings there. Okay, so you now have the clarity of one property. And next thing would be the shrink. Okay, so in order to know the shrink, let me do this. Flex shrink is 1. What happens if you give flex shrink to 0? Flex shrink to 0. Let me save this. Let me reload this. So now see. Yeah guys, so whenever you use the shrink here, okay, so whenever you use the shrink, um, even if you decrease the screen size, the flex basis 100 pixels will not shrink. If you do not use this, these an and ease will automatically gets decreased, right, according to the screen size. But when you increase or decrease the screen size, if you increase flex shrink, to 0, if you make this flex shrink to 0, these things will not be shrinked, because you have given shrink to be false. Even if you decrease the size, this an 100 pixels will not get decreased according to the screen ratio, because you have changed the flex shrink property. Fine. So this is the basic use of flex shrink. This is also a property, flex property. And the next thing is flex grow. Okay, so what is the meaning of flex grow? You will see now. Flex grow. Where is it? Flex grow to be 1, suppose. And if you save the change, okay, and if you know if you reload this, you will not find any change. Okay, not find any change, because the flex basis and flex grow will not be at the same pace. So let me comment this out. So here, yeah, let me save this and let me reload this. Here you can see what's happening with the use of flex grow. The elements, I mean the divisions, will automatically grow with the growth of container. Okay, with the growth of container, this element will automatically grow. You can see here, you can see the space is automatically growing. So you came to know, right, why I have used this flex, I mean I have closed this flex basis, because it is defining by default. By default it is saying flex basis should be 100 pixels, so that whenever I increase, it is coming to 100 pixels and it's stopping there in order to increase. But if I comment this out and if I give the flex grow to be 1, then what's happening, you can see, then it is increasing with the increase in screen ratio. You can see here it's decreasing with the decrease in screen ratio. Fine. So you can use this flex grow to only one element also. Okay, for suppose um, and if you use this in the first element, and if you save this and if you reload this, self study is only increasing, you can see, right, because we have used this property flex grow property on only self study. That is why self study is only growing. Okay, if you use it on an, the an will only grow. So what happens if you use on two elements? So if you use this here also, so what happens? Let me save this and let me reload this. Now two elements will be increased. Okay, both self study and ease is getting increased. The rest are in their original shape and size. Fine, only self study and ease is getting increased, and they are getting decreased according to the screen ratio. Here you can see what happens if I give other than 1. Suppose if I give 2 here, and if I reload this, so ease is getting increased more than self study. So how much more? Ease is increasing twice the size of self study. Here is some math for you. So we have given it will grow 1, it will grow 2. If it grow 1 time, it grows 2 times. So flex grow of element 2 is twice the flex grow of element 1. Okay, you can see ease is getting increased more when compared to self study. If you give 3 here, so element 2 will increase thrice with respect to element 1. It is much more faster now. You can see ease is much more faster than self study. Okay, so for suppose for a change, I'll give 2 here. I'll take out this and I'll give here let's grow 1. So every element will grow one time. Okay, so this element 1, so self study will increase twice when compared to every other element. You can see self study is getting increased twice when compared to the other elements. Okay, so that is the basic changes here you can find for the flex grow. Now you came to know clearly about flex properties, right? So what are the flex properties? Flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis are the flex properties, and these are the default values. So you now came to learn what is flex basis, what is flex shrink, and flex grow. So you have a different MCQs like which of the following is not a flex property. You have 4 options, and you will have something other than these three, and you should be selected that one. Or you may have some MCQ like which of the following is a flex property. In that you may only find one out of these three, and you need to select that answer. Okay, so you may also be asked about MCQs in sense. Remember that it may also be an interview. Okay, even in interviews you will be asked these questions. Based upon these questions you will be interviewed. Okay, so sometimes they may ask what is the the default property, I mean the default value of flex shrink. Then the answer would be 1. What is the default value of the property flex basis? The answer would be 0. Okay, so the last thing, okay, but not the least, you know you have given flex basis, flex shrink, and flex grow separately, isn't it? So let me delete even flex grow here. Okay, yeah, let me save this. Let me reload this. Okay, instead of doing these things, okay, these three in three different lines, you can specify in a single line. So how to do that? So if you want everything to be like this only, you will be having now flex. So flex, first thing is grow. How much flex grow you want? If you want 1, you can keep 1 space. How much flex shrink you want? If you want 0 flex shrink, you can keep 0. How much flex basis? If you want it to be default, you can give auto. Let me save this. Let me reload this, and now everything is normal. Now you can see. So here in this keyword, the first thing is flex grow, the second thing is flex shrink, the third thing is flex basis. So you need to remember the order. It is also a question. Tell me the order of flex properties whenever we use the flex keyword. So what's the order? The first element is flex grow, the second element is flex shrink, the third element is flex basis. So instead of using it in 3 different lines, you can use it in single line. This is the best practice to use also. Okay, whenever you inspect an element or whenever you are seeing a single HTML page, there you may be noticed that they will not use 3 different lines. They will only use one flex. Okay, instead of these 3 they'll use only one property. Okay, that is flex. Fine. So this is the whole thing about flexbox. So I know this content is more, and you need to keep more in mind. If you are not comfortable with flexbox, please watch it again. Okay, I have explained it as clearly as I can. I have explained you all these things. Okay, so my point here is please you know understand it more clearly. from your side. Okay, so these are all the things which I want to explain you in flexbox. So flexbox, again I'm saying flexbox is very important and you need to learn. So we have a CSS grid which is much more advanced when compared to flexbox. Okay, you know, CSS grid is much more advanced. Okay, so first learn about flexbox and I'll explain you about CSS grid in the same style. Okay, using the same style and same flow I'm going to explain it more clearly. Okay, so that's it guys, so let's meet in the next lecture. And in the next lecture I'm going to explain you about the CSS grid. Yeah, thank you guys.